Welcome back to our Halloween-ish episode.
Halloween-ish. I like that.
Yeah, Halloween-esque. You could be watching this before Halloween or after Halloween, but either way, we got some spooky Oreos behind us.
Now, do you think that the frosting on it is like the filling for the Oreos? Because that would be pretty game-changing.
Well, I don't know, actually. Which, is this in French? It is in French.
Yeah.
Why is
because
it in
there's
French?
The L ensemble.
Like, like l'homme.
Yeah, exactly.
Le garçon.
Mm-hmm.
If you speak French, I'm sorry. So this episode, I wanted to do like weird things that you believed in as a child. What are you looking at?
It says bijou and bonbon.
Oh, I have no idea what that means.
Bonbon is, I think, the fluff. Because in Spanish...
Cinnabon.
In Spanish, they call marshmallows bonbones.
Oh, okay. Well, it is all Latin-based.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, anyways, back to what I was saying.
Yes.
I wanted to do an episode where you talk about like weird things you believed in as a child, and then also like superstitions and just family traditions, because we're nearing the holidays, so we're going around family tradition time.
Right, exactly.
So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll start with one. So I wouldn't say it's a little bit of a superstition, a little bit of kind of like the methodology passed on from generation to generation.
Oral histories.
Oral histories, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Zachary.
Whoa.
Jonathan drank some moonshine, and now
We're a little moonshine right now.
He promised me he could function, but he clearly cannot.
So, I'm Hispanic. My mom's Mexican. My dad's El Salvadorian. And I feel like in Hispanic culture, there's a lot of methods to self-healing with common colds or like small illnesses that are not life-threatening. Especially for my mom and my dad, who grew up not at all near
in
cities
Rancho?
At all. Yep. El Rancho. So they grew up in very rural areas of Mexico and El Salvador. And obviously, you know, for both of them, really, like, hospitals weren't a big option to go to all the time. So having to find little things to help cure yourself. So one big one, which is completely false, is that
oh gosh, what are you gonna say?
If you are cold for a long period of time, you will actually get sick. And if you actually are, say, wet and cold for a long time, you will get sick. Now, I'm sure if you have, it doesn't help if you're already infected with, say, like a common cold.
Yeah.
It's not going to help. But my mom would say if I went out and played soccer with, like, it happened a lot. We'd go out, play soccer with a buddy super early, and she'd be like, wear a jacket. Don't go out there wearing just a shirt. You will get a cold. Because you're going to be cold biking over there. She's like, you're going to get sick.
That's for a lot of like moms though too. I don't know. Maybe that was just like in the 90s and early 2000s, something that people believe, because my mom said the same thing to me. Or you know what my friend was saying, who's Filipino, and I don't know if this is like a Filipino thing or this was just her mom's thing, was she would never shower at night because she wouldn't go to bed with wet hair, because if you went to bed with wet hair and you were cold for a long period of time, you would get sick. So
right,
she would shower every single morning because she's like, I'm not going to bed with wet hair. And that's like not necessarily like a superstition, maybe, or maybe it is a superstition, but it's more like a belief.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. Like where you all, like we all have our own like cultural beliefs that don't have any scientific scientific evidence.
Right.
Words are hard for me too, and I'm completely sober. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is something that I think, I hope it doesn't sound offensive, and I don't mean it to sound offensive, and maybe you can explain to me, but I noticed we're both wearing Vans.
Right.
And you know
now, what's the superstition behind that?
It's not a superstition. It's more like this kid in 4th grade told me that there is the Star of David on the bottom of Vans.
Right,
and
right.
that you're stepping on them, so that means you hate Jewish people.
You know what? I did.
Have you heard that?
I think I did hear that actually because I used to. I remember when someone pointed that out to me. I'm looking at my
Vans right now. We're both wearing Vans.
I remember someone saying that there are the Star of David on the shoes, but for a skateboarder, you know, you just need different traction for that area because that's where you put the most pressure on your foot.
And when I started dating you, because I don't know why, maybe because it's like so rooted in hatred, that feeling, because I was wearing Vans when he told me that, because he was like,
oh, of course,
do you hate Jewish people? And I was like, wait, what? Fourth grade me was like, what? And he was like, look at the bottom, there's Star of David's on them, and it's on the bottom of your shoes and you're stepping on them, so that means you're stepping on Jewish people. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. So that was a weird thing that I believed as a kid.
I heard that one too, which is funny.
Okay, so it's like you grew up in the Bay Area, I grew up in the LA area, so it's like it permeated from one side of the state to the other one.
And I think we're in the same, since we're only a year apart in age, we would have the same kind of generational superstitions that we got thrown on to us, I guess.
I should ask like a 4th grader now. They'd be like, what are you talking about? No, they'd be like, ma'am, why are you talking to me?
Yeah, true.
But another thing I believed, which this is the same kid, I'm pretty sure, that told me this, that if you get stung by a bee 100 times, that there's so much venom in your body that you die.
I heard the same thing too.
Okay, because I've been stung by a bee 10 times, and I was like, oh no, I only have 94 times until I die.
So they were saying a cumulative
amount, because like when you get stung by a bee, then the venom is like in you forever. So then if you get stung on, but there's like beekeepers, like I'm sure beekeepers have been stung more than 100 times.
I don't think that's plausible.
Accurate. Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But I would get freaked out every time I got stung by a bee, because I've been stung many times. And like 3 of those times, though, granted, I like stepped on them at the beach, you know, when the bees are at the beach and you step on them and then you get a stinger in your foot. But
I was going to say, that's how I actually got stung for my second time. So
you've been stung multiple times?
I've only been stung
twice.
I've been stung 3 times, actually. Once in high school. That's a funny story for another time. Once, I think on the arm, I didn't even notice it, and I just looked, and I was like, ooh,
Was there a stinger, like, coming out of your arm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then one time on the beach,
and
I was running out to go surf, and I was like, ooh, ow, what is that? And then I look under my foot, and I had a little stinger hanging out of my foot.
Ooh, well, at least it wasn't like a jellyfish.
Yeah, true.
Because I've known people to step on jellyfish before as well.
That's much worse.
Yeah. And then you gotta pee on it. Remember? That's another thing. They say you gotta,
that's not a problem,
you gotta pee
surfing,
on your
though.
body, or you gotta pee on your body, or you have somebody pee on yourself when you get stung by a jellyfish. But
I've peed myself a lot of times surfing, so that wouldn't really be too much of a problem for me. Another superstition. I think not superstition, but I think kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier is I know that, say, my mom and my dad, if I ever was starting to get sick, they would say, drink lemon ginger tea with honey, and that'll completely cure you. And I used to think that was just a load of crap. And then one time, I think it was going into flu season, I felt like I was getting sick. I drank a ton of that tea, and it actually helped me a lot. I still got a little bit sick, but it wasn't as severe as I thought it was going to be.
Well, you know, but that's also, I think, characteristic of you, because you barely get sick. Like, you and I have both gotten the same sickness, and it's hit me like 10 times harder than it's hit you.
I was thinking about that the other day when I was thinking about
And it's your cold showers, isn't it? It's your Wim Hof, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I was thinking about that our anniversary when we went to Pismo Beach.
Oh, and I got sick
for like 2 days.
and you gave it to me.
And I still went and surfed and I was fine because I just felt like crap. And then when you got sick, you're like, I can't do anything. Like you were bedridden.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, funny for you. But
yeah,
not
it was
for me.
hilarious for me.
Because then I had to go and fly somewhere like the next week because our anniversaries are on Thanksgiving. So I had to fly somewhere for Thanksgiving. And it was like in a couple days, and I was like, this man got me sick. You know, I have a really weird superstition, and maybe it's like almost OCD-ish. That's what I meant to say, but it combined is like if I jinx myself, I have to knock on wood, or else I will have like severe anxiety of not knocking on wood.
So you literally have to knock on wood.
Like I know people throw around OCD where it's like, oh my god, I'm so OCD, like this thing is crooked, and it's like, okay, maybe that bothers everything, but like OCD is like intrusive thoughts that like will not go away. It's like when people turn the locks 3 times too to like make sure it's locked. It's like intrusive. Like if you don't follow through with those compulsions, then like you'll have a severe anxiety attack. And that is me when I jinx something and I don't knock on wood.
Wow, okay.
So anyways, I'm mentally ill.
Well, aren't we all?
Yeah, are we all just like a little bit?
You know what? Sorry. Actually, that's a superstition.
I hope that doesn't
right
offend anybody, because I actually do have like anxiety, and I deal with it. But anyways.
That's a great superstition. Actually, is that in Hispanic culture, mental health.
Well, that's not a superstition. It's more like a stigmatized.
Mental disabilities do not exist in Hispanic cultures, and what I mean by that is that they're not. I could go. I mean, now
a lot of people understand what you're trying to say, though.
I'm sure my Hispanic, followers and brethren out there.
Well,
would
it's
understand.
For a lot of people, especially for men as well. It's more acceptable for women to be emotional and stuff, and that's a whole other podcast that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
But
I'm
cutting this off here before he rambles.
I think that it's just in Hispanic culture, it's not that they don't recognize it, is that you have a lot greater things to worry about than just having to sit down and like look at your mental health. And I think it's just a lot in immigrant cultures.
I think it is too.
You have far greater things to deal with.
Yeah, you're like, how am I going to get a job and pay for stuff?
Exactly. That's going to outweigh.
I have anxiety. Like,
right. They could all tell you, like, I mean, I think if you were to go and tell somebody Hispanic who's trying to make things work, say in Mexico or something like that, they would tell you, like, yeah, I do have anxiety, but I'm not doing anything about it. I'm still getting up and putting on my pants one leg at a time, just like everybody else, and going and working, and that's how you deal with anxiety. And I'm not saying that it's good to ignore your mental, struggles.
It's not. And I don't want anybody to listen to this feel like we're telling them like it's like just ignore it. Like,
right.
I mean, that's the least helpful advice ever. If you tell somebody I'm going through an anxious or depressive time, be like, don't think about it. It's like, oh wow, I'm cured. Thank you. I wish I thought of that for myself.
Right.
Not thinking about it.
I just want to solely put it out there just to say me growing up as a Hispanic male. Yeah. I wasn't not allowed to recognize it. I didn't even know what anxiety was until
and now
I was much older.
You have emotional problems.
And now I can everybody has emotional problems.
Anxiety.
It's just whether you recognize it and you can
it's how you deal with it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that doesn't offend any followers with mental health issues. I understand. So it was the same in my house.
Superstition is that.
See, I try to cut you off, and then you just cut me off.
I know.
I try to cut you off going on that whole tangent, and you were like, "Nope, I'm gonna say what I want to say." blah blah blah. See, this is ladies. This is a reminder that when a man tries to talk over you, you just keep talking and keep until he stops.
This is another superstition right there.
What?
That ladies, you should not
How is
let
that
your
a superstition?
man ramble.
How is that a superstition? That's just
because
advice.
it's wrong, and you should just let your man just rabble.
This is like a common thing, and that I thought of, and my mom probably told me this. Rude. Is that when you swallow watermelon seeds that you're gonna grow watermelon in your body?
I never heard that one.
Really?
No.
Oh my god, my mom told me that. Or no, my cousin told me that, and I cried, and my mom was like, "Why are you crying?"
I heard that about gum.
Oh, that it takes 7 years to digest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because they don't want us to swallow gum. That's like a choking hazard, I think.
Right. No, it's true. And I'm sure it's not easy for the body to process gum, but it's not going to take 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
There's no way that your stomach acid is not destroying that immediately.
Exactly. Yeah, I heard the same thing.
I had a good one.
Like in my college, my undergrad,
yeah.
It's like you kick the pole like before you walk into the stadium because it's good luck and we're gonna win.
Oh, right. Yeah,
stuff
people
like that.
always have that. In your short, I know you have this superstition, but when you did sports, did you have any superstitions?
Oh, like pre-ritual things? No.
I don't.
Short answer, no. I don't know. First of all, I'm not that athletic. I played sports for like 4 years. Actually have like a pre-ritual, but
I'm
no,
sure people can walk into any sport and say like, okay, I did good on this day, and I'm gonna repeat this exact same thing.
Well, it's like uncut gems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like people who like have the old dirty gym socks, and they're like, I have to wear these socks and I can't wash them, or else I'm gonna lose the bad luck. I mean, I think luck too is a superstition.
100%.
And I wish on 11/11 every single time I see it.
We do wish on 11/11 every time, and I think that it's worked for me so far.
It's worked for me so far too.
So, but another superstition, I'm not going to tell you what I wish for.
Yep, and you don't do that when you blow out your birthday candles either. You don't tell anybody your wish or else it won't come true, which is like so... I don't know what the root of that is. Maybe that's like...
And if you don't get your face pushed into a birthday cake by your Hispanic family, then they don't love you.
You know, I've never gotten my face pushed in cake. Is that going to happen to me?
No. No, they would never do that to you.
Why not?
I think they would allow me to do that if I was going to. But
but they not them themselves. Like you would do that to me.
I think because they would know that you would be really pissed.
I wouldn't be mad. Okay, I would be mad a little bit.
You'd be really mad.
Okay, well, it depends on how good my makeup was.
Well, you know that if we were cutting a cake
in front of me,
if we were cutting a cake for you, and there was birthday candles and everything, you would do your makeup to take pictures.
Well, or have you seen like those videos where like girls like know it's gonna happen, but they put a paper plate in front of their face, so it's like and then they put a paper plate in front of their face, and then they're like, you're trying to get me.
Yep. My brother, funny story. We used to do that to him, my cousin and I, and then eventually one year he just did it himself. He was waiting for somebody to do it, and then he just went right into it. And then the year after that, we like barely got all set up. We didn't even get all our picture stuff ready, and he just dunks his face into the cake, and we didn't get any pictures with the clean cake or nothing. And that's the year that we stopped, because we're like, oh, he likes to do this. We can't do this anymore. Like 8 or 9.
Oh, okay.
He was very young, yeah. Maybe even 7. So
and you have a big age difference between, well, not a big age difference, but 5 years. It's pretty substantial.
It's a substantial one, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you and your brother are only like
2.5.
2.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, Should we do one more superstition?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we already had the technical difficulty.
Yeah. You know, another thing, I won't open umbrellas indoors because I think it's bad luck.
I've never understood that.
I don't
What
either,
is
but
the
it's just bad luck. I
behind
don't
it?
know. It's just bad luck. It's a weird
Another
thing.
one-
I'm very superstitious. I used to think I'm not very superstitious, but I am.
Right.
This whole podcast just
No, I
proved
don't
that
mean
me.
to be.
Offensive?
I don't want offensive or racist, but isn't that? I mean, I know for a fact Hispanic culture there's a lot of superstition.
Yeah. Same
Is it
with
also
Chinese
true in-
cultures?
I was gonna say Asian cultures, but you would specifically know Chinese.
Well, yeah, because I am Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who didn't know that, I am Chinese. My dad was born. Well, actually, he was born in Myanmar, but it's China. He's from China.
In Burma, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not Burma anymore.
Right.
But yeah, and you know, my dad was so like scientific too, because he was a doctor and so much believed in like Western medicine and science that I would try and ask him about Chinese superstitions, and he's like, no, there is none. Like, he's like, you don't believe in any of them.
I feel like his brother probably strayed away from that too.
Well, I think most of them did, but it was from like coming to America in a time where there was a lot of difficult race relations. And this is a whole other conversation, not about superstitions, but it is. I mean, we could do a whole podcast about our parents' immigrant experience.
Right. That'll be a good one to do.
I think so too, because I think a lot of people don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I
always
you grow up a certain way when your parents are immigrants.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's funny, like, actually, I'm not going to get into this because I'm going to go off on a tangent, guys. That's the moonshine
That's
talking.
one thing Jonathan loves to do is go off on a tangent.
I like to talk.
You do, but you're very nice and you're an active listener as well. So at
I
least
like to
it's
do
not
that
like
too, yeah.
when you talk or you're having a conversation with somebody and it's like they're just waiting for you to finish so that they can talk more. And
Right.
You get the vibes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in ghosts? That will be our last question. Do you believe in ghosts?
Oof.
We should do a podcast about my paranormal experiences because I actually have had paranormal experiences.
I was gonna ask for you to tell the one with you, and Courtney. Yeah, because
I
that
guess
one
we
is
could add it to our Halloween one.
That we'll leave it off on that. I don't know if I believe in ghosts because I've yet to have a paranormal experience, but I do like to believe in spirits.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not a ghost that presents itself in a physical form.
Yeah.
But I do believe in spirits. Whether it's spirits helping you or
so
even
you
like
believe in
negative
demonic spirits.
You know, again, I speak solely from the knowledge of someone who's never experienced anything. So I can't say that I totally believe in, say, demonic spirits or whatever. Maybe it's just me kind of like, it's like a reassuring thing, like, okay, this spirit is with me and gives me this self-confidence. But it's the same thing
with religion. They say that in the Bible too, like you can't believe in God without believing in the devil.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like you can't believe in like good spirits without believing in bad spirits. But
100%.
My paranormal experience was I was at my friend Courtney's house, and her house is
this still gives me the
haunted, because there was a murder-suicide there, and a little girl lives there. I don't know if the little girl died there, but her aunt was a witch, identified as a Wiccan, I should say, not a witch.
Yeah.
A Wiccan practice. Is it Wiccan? I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, I don't know the exact name for it, but witchcraft-ish. And, you know, spoke to spirit, like could talk to spirits, things like that. And they did a Ouija board once, and they talked to the little girl that lived there. But basically, I was just laying down on her bed, and I was facing the door, and her dogs too, like would always like bark at an empty hallway too. It was just very bizarre. So I was laying down on our bed and I was like kind of facing the doorway and we were just talking and I was like laughing, having a good time. And I think I was probably cursing because if you know me, I swear like a sailor. And I saw that this little girl, she had short like black hair, like a little bob, and was wearing overalls and a pink shirt.
Oh.
She just walked by the door. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, whose child is here? And she's like, Courtney's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I just saw a child walk by the door. And she's like, Courtney literally like, she was holding clothes and she like dropped her clothes that she was holding. And she put her hand over her mouth and she was like, there's no child here. And I was like,
God,
oh no. And we were just freaking out. We started yelling and we're screaming because I mean, what, we're like in our 20s, but we're like, oh my God. Ah! And then her mom comes in and is like, what are you guys like screaming about? And I was like, no, I saw this little girl. She just walked by, like all she did, she just walked by the door. She didn't make like any foot sounds. Like there's no foot sound. She just walked and she was barefoot, overalls. And it was like the clearest I have ever like seen like an apparition. Like, and she's had experiences in those houses, in that house too. And I don't think she'll mind me telling this, where like the man who murdered his wife, like she was laying down and she felt like something sitting on her bed and she woke up and there was like a man like looking at her. And then she was like, what are you doing here? And then he like put his hands on the bed and like looked more at her. She was like, what are you doing here? And then he just like disappeared.
Oh man, I feel like this like gives me the extra chills because I've been in the house
That's
after
haunted.
You told me this stories.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And like I just look down the hallway and I'm just constantly like,
but they're not.
If I'm there at night, I'm constantly like, oh my gosh,
they're
is
not
tonight gonna be the night?
Bad spirits though.
Right.
Okay, even though the guy is a murderer, but like they're not like demonic spirits, you know? Like I don't feel like, even when I saw that little girl walk by the door, like I didn't feel like a cold presence. Like it wasn't a bad spirit. It was just a little girl. And there's been times, like another last story, but when I was sleeping over at our house and we were, I don't know, in high school, I think, and we were just laying down, you know, it was like 1 a.m. and we're like going to sleep and we heard laughter and it was just like, and I turned to Courtney and I go, what's so funny? And she's like, I thought you were the one that laughed. And we both didn't laugh. And we were just like,
oh, that's crazy.
My God. So Courtney's house is haunted.
Yep.
And I've had ghost experiences and therefore I do believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them.
I think I also believe in them because of your experiences. And Courtney's experiences.
Well, because it's like, why would we lie about that? Like, why would I lie about that? Why would I have so much detail of a little girl that I saw if I'm just like, hi, I'm lying? Like, I'm not lying about that.
Right. And the fact that I know the both of you, when I see you two tell the story, you have this very serious look in your face. And it gives me the chills every time because I know you're serious.
Yeah.
Again, I've never experienced anything, so I can't say anything. The only thing that I do believe in, or you know what I used to believe in?
Santa Claus.
I think not as much. It's not a superstition, or you know what? I mean, I don't know what I'd classify as, but when I was younger, I used to think that there was monsters under my bed. So a lot of the times I wouldn't even look under my bed, and still to this day, I don't like hanging my feet off the bed when I sleep because I have this overwhelming feeling that they're going to come and grab my feet.
Well, yeah, or like sleeping like with your leg out from the blanket or something.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I think that's a fear a lot of people have. And
I still have that. And it's not so much a fear. I guess it's not so much a fear because I can go to sleep if I do it, or if it's just.
But you're thinking about it.
Actually, I think about it, but I've made sure that my sleeping position / my bed is long enough so I don't even have to worry about it.
Is that why you like wrap yourself in a burrito?
100%.
Interesting.
That's why I have to like wrap my feet up.
Oh.
And that's why, I mean, maybe the burrito part is not so much, but like I do feel like when I wrap myself, I feel this like sheath
well,
of
it's also
comfort.
like swaddling, like when you were a baby and your mom would swaddle you.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, we're going on a tangent, but I appreciate everybody for listening.
Yeah, we kept going.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to make longer podcasts. John disagrees, so put in the comments if you think we should have a longer podcast or not.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? Our camera only films for some reason it only records for
20 minutes.
18 and a half to like 19 and a half minutes for some reason. So we'll
have to cut
time.
things.
We're cut to that time.
And I don't think people would notice, but Mr. Jonathan over there notices. So
I nitpick everything. So
yeah.
I feel like I have this like I'm like really looking. So but we're open to suggestions, and we're still going to be growing. We're on episode 4. We're on episode more probably, but officially in this setup, episode 4.
Yep. Okay.
So we're going to keep growing with everybody. So
yeah,
bear with us, please.
Follow us on Twitter if you got a Twitter, and
YouTube. Leave a comment with any superstitions.
Yes, please engage with us. Like the video.
Mm-hmm. Leave comments, please. We'll see them all.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.